In our minds, the monsters of the ancient seas are often huge, terrifying predators like the megalodon or the equally massive and ferocious Mosasaurus. But the truth is that the world beneath the waves was full of all kinds of bizarre and unusual creatures, most of which were actually quite small. They had to be because trying to move through water with legs would be pretty difficult if you weren't tiny. In fact, the largest sea monster wasn't even a reptile at all. It was a whale. But despite the diversity of life in the ancient seas, most people know little about it. Today, we're going to set that right by exploring the surprising truth about the amazing sea reptiles that ruled the ancient seas. Hi, I'm here to introduce you to Paleo Logic. Here every week we'll take a journey back in time to meet some of the amazing animals that roamed our planet. From prehistoric beasts to long-extinct dinosaurs, join us as we uncover the secrets of the past and bring history to life one fossil at a time. So let's dive into today's topic: ancient sea reptiles. When most people hear the term sea monster, images of giant predatory reptiles like the mighty Mosasaurus spring to mind. These fearsome creatures were the apex predators of their day, swimming through the ancient seas with ease and hunting down prey with their powerful jaws. But did you know that the world beneath the waves was full of all kinds of weird and wonderful creatures? And I mean really weird. Take, for example, the Ambulocetus. Now this creature looks like a mix between a crocodile and a kangaroo, and that's because it spent its days lounging on land in search of tasty fish. With its powerful tail, it could move around surprisingly quickly when needed, but preferred to use its webbed feet to paddle through the shallows. Its body was covered in tiny scales that overlapped like roof tiles, which helped protect it from injury while on land. This creature is just one of many examples of sea monsters that challenge our expectations of what a reptile can look like. But wait, there's more. How about the marine dinosaur called the Ichthyosaur? These creatures were some of the largest animals in the ancient seas, growing up to 85 feet long. That's about the size of a school bus. But don't be fooled by their fish-like name. Ichthyosaurs were actually reptiles. They had sharp teeth and paddle-shaped limbs that they used to steer themselves through the water. They also had a single large eye in the middle of their head, which they used to spot prey from far away. These amazing adaptations allowed them to become perfectly suited for life in the ocean, and since they were so huge, it would have been very difficult for anything to eat them. So they lived in relative safety too. Their remains have been found all over the world, from England to India and beyond. We've learned that they gave birth to live young, which was a rare adaptation among ancient reptiles. It's no wonder that they dominated the ancient seas for over 200 million years. Speaking of ichthyosaurs, let's talk about the Plesiosaur. As one of the most famous ancient sea monsters, the Plesiosaur has captured the imaginations of many. The first fossil of this creature was discovered in 1824 in England, and ever since then we've been fascinated by its unique appearance. Plesiosaurs had 4 large flippers that they used to propel themselves through the water and a long neck that they used to reach into crevices and grab their prey. Some plesiosaurs were small, only a few feet long, while others grew to be enormous, reaching lengths of over 55 feet. One of the most remarkable things about the plesiosaur is its long neck, which was made up of many small bones that were connected together. This neck allowed the animal to reach into narrow crevices and capture fish that other predators couldn't get to. Some of the smaller species of plesiosaurs used their long necks to suck up plankton and other small prey, while the larger species used their necks to grab fish and even other marine animals like seals and dolphins. There was even one species of plesiosaur that specialized in eating jellyfish. But despite their incredible adaptations, plesiosaurs disappeared from Earth about 66 million years ago, possibly due to the mass extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Let's now turn our attention to a creature that's even more infamous than the plesiosaur, the Mosasaurus. This gigantic marine reptile was an apex predator that lived in the ancient seas during the late Cretaceous period. Growing up to an impressive 56 feet long, the Mosasaurus was truly a giant of the oceans. Its name translates to largest lizard, and that's fitting considering its massive size. The Mosasaurus was related to the modern monitor lizard, and it shared many similarities with its land-dwelling cousins. For example, it had a long, slender snout with sharp teeth that it used to hunt down prey. However, unlike its relatives, the Mosasaurus was fully adapted for life in the water. Its powerful tail propelled it through the water with ease, and its paddle-shaped limbs helped it steer and maneuver. Despite its enormous size, the Mosasaurus was a surprisingly agile hunter, capable of chasing down fast-moving prey such as fish and squid. It also had a keen sense of smell, which it used to locate schools of fish from miles away. Its nostrils were located high on its snout, allowing it to breathe without lifting its head above the surface of the water. The Mosasaurus's reign at the top of the food chain came to an end around 66 million years ago with the mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs. But thanks to its fierce reputation, it continues to capture our imaginations today. But not all sea monsters were huge, vicious predators. Some were much smaller and lived in much shallower waters. Take, for example, the thalassosin. These tiny reptiles were about the size of a crocodile and lived in the warm, shallow waters of the ancient seas. They had long snouts with sharp teeth that they used to catch fish and other small prey. But what's most interesting about thalassocines is their connection to dinosaurs. That's because they evolved from early archosaurs, the group that eventually gave rise to dinosaurs, birds, and crocodiles. By studying thalassocines, scientists have been able to learn more about the origins of dinosaurs and how they gave rise to such a diverse array of creatures. Finally, let's take a look at one of the strangest and most unusual sea monsters of all, the Mixosaurus. This bizarre creature lived in the ancient seas during the Triassic period and had a truly unique appearance. It had the body of a fish, but with 4 limbs that ended in sharp claws. These limbs were small and underdeveloped, so it's unlikely that the Mixosaurus used them for walking on land. Instead, they probably used them to help steer themselves through the water. But what's really strange about the Mixosaurus is its skull. It had a long, narrow snout with sharp teeth that were perfect for catching fish. But what makes its skull truly unique is the hole that's located on top of its head. This hole was likely caused by a parasitic infection that resulted in the death of the animal. But it's still a remarkable feature of the Mixosaurus and helps us understand the strange and sometimes brutal world of ancient sea monsters. As we've seen, the ancient seas were home to all kinds of amazing creatures, from tiny thalassocines to giant mosasaurs. These sea monsters were truly a diverse bunch, and they'd be right at home in today's oceans. But unfortunately, many of them are extinct today. And we can thank ourselves for that. Our insatiable appetite for seafood has led to overfishing, which has devastated many marine ecosystems. But we can take steps to help protect our oceans and the amazing creatures that live in them. So next time you're enjoying a seafood dinner, remember the sea monsters of the past and do your part to protect the sea monsters of the present. So what do you think? Were you surprised by the diversity of ancient sea reptiles? Which was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe for more fun and educational videos about ancient sea monsters and other prehistoric creatures. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. I'm the host. Remember to keep an open mind and a curious heart. And until next time, stay adventurous.